This coming out from Mike Berardino of the St. Paul Pioneer Press that the Twins have talked with the Pirates about Gerrit Cole and the Rays about Jake Odorizzi. And then the rest there we can just get into. But all right, they're getting after it a little bit. It's funny, as we're back here now, Joel Sherman, Cliff Corcoran, and Jason Marquis. I don't think of the Twins as, they're there and it's time to push. But no, they are. They're a playoff team. And the playoff team already, even if they exceeded expectations. Where you are on the win curve, those are the wins you want, or do you think they're not quite there yet?
They're close. I mean, this past season they overachieved and they kind of backed into the playoffs. They were a mediocre team when there was no good fifth team in the American League. But if you look, if Buxton finished real strong, got some MVP votes, he's finally broken through, it seems. Sano had a very good season until he got hurt. They've got a good, talented young offense, but their pitching staff was awful. Mm-hmm. So if they can firm up their rotation, that might be exactly what they need. And they've only got Brian Dozier for one more year. Now Joe Mauer is not an impact player anymore, but a valuable veteran. They've only got him for one more year on that contract. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense to me for them to make moves to bolster their rotation and see what they can get done in this upcoming season, because they're still not a good fifth team in the American League.
Right. Let's point out now exactly where they've been, wins and losses, but then you go in, all right, talking about exceeding expectations, and we've done this 2 out of 3 years with Paul Molitor and the Twins saying they are not that good. But they're kind of winning. They were 83 and 79 when the third order wins said they should have been 73 and 89, other way around basically. And then disastrous 103 loss season. This year, Joel, 85 and 77. But when you really look at the third order wins or Pythagorean, if it's just the runs scored, basically a 500 team. So I guess we have to establish what are they before is it time to move forward? What are they?
So that question, I asked to both Derek Falvey and Thad Levine. Derek Falvey during the postseason, Thad Levine during the GM meetings, this idea of where you were 3 years ago to and then the fall. Is this aberrational? And they think some of that fall, remember, they were not there for that. Some of that fall was about some of these young players working out kinks and that they got the benefit of it this year, and now they're just young professionals who they think are in their prime. The other thing I would think about, and I know they're thinking about it, is what is around you? So if you, and Thad Levine said clearly, we are presenting to ownership starting pitching on every level. In other words, we're not looking at that level that's usually the Minnesota Twin level. So that to me means Darvish and Cobb and anybody, Arrieta at the top, and trades like we're talking about here. So they're opening it up. And I think that's because the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets, like some traditional teams you think would spend, aren't going to do it. So it makes the field a little more evergreen. The other thing is you have 3 teams in the AL Central in the Royals and the White Sox and the Tigers, who I think you could feel relatively sure are going to be among the 10 worst teams in baseball next year, right? And so that's a third of your schedule is against them if you're the Twins. So if you're trying to become the 5th best team in the league, the Yankees have to play the Blue Jays and all this stuff is going on in the AL East. There's stuff going on in the AL West. There's opportunity right now for the Twins, especially because big teams aren't going to chase the big guys to the way we're used to them doing it. And the bottom of the AL Central is so bad that this is a moment to capitalize on that young talent if you believe in it.
Right. Whether you are opening the window or not, the window might have flung open right in front of you. Is it time to move?
Well, I was going to touch a little bit what Joel touched on. They do got a young core with Sano, Rosario, Escobar, and with Dozier and Mauer have 1 year left. Right now may be the time to strike. Like you said, they have 3 teams that are going to be in the bottom third of the league. They could take advantage. I think it's going to take a lot more than just one starting pitcher. I think losing Matt Belisle and Brandon Kinsler, they also have to show up the back end of the bullpen to make sure they close games out. To catch the Indians might be a little bit tougher. Losing Mickey Callaway, you never know. Maybe that pitching staff takes a step backwards on a whole, and you can take advantage of that aspect also.
Yeah, wow, even saying that. Yeah, they're not doing that, right?
I mean, you never know.
Are really strong. Yeah, you don't know, but even if you're grabbing a wild card from where they've been, I think they're still excited about winning a wild card, even if they can get there.
The Twins?
Twins, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
still good.
And I think that they think it's really possible. I think they use the term there's a big 4 in the AL, and I agree with that. And then that 5th spot is wide open for about 5 or 6 teams.